The Socio-Economic Right and Accountability Project, SERAP, has urged President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to urgently disclose details of the selection and appointment process for the successor to Professor Mahmood Yakubu, whose tenure as the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission will end in November 2025. SERAP urged him to disclose the name and numbers of candidates for the INEC Chairman and whether the Council of State has consulted or would be consulted in making the appointment as constitutionally required. Professor Mahmood Yakubu will leave office as INEC Chairman in November, having completed his two-term tenure of 10 years. President Tinubu is expected to appoint his successor soon, subject to the Senate confirmation. SERAP said there is a strong correlation between transparency in the selection and appointment process of INEC Chairman and the ability of the Commission to perform its constitutional and statutory duties in an independent and impartial manner. Now, according to SERAP, INEC plays a crucial role in Nigeria's democratic process. Openness and transparency in the selection and appointment process will improve public trust in the Commission, independence and impartiality, and citizens' participation in the electoral process. But the big question on dialogue is, will Mr. President oblige SERAP and Nigerians in giving the names of the intended nominees, or rather just go ahead and send such nominees to the Senate, whether public scrutiny or not? Well, this and more is what this edition of Dialogue is all about. And we're talking about the nomination of a new INEC chairman. And that's what we're looking at today on Dialogue. You do know that the tenure of the existing chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmood Yakubu, will definitely end come November. And definitely many are already seeking for who would come and indeed take the reins of affair, especially with the nomination of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But anyway, in that in mind, that's why we're having this discussion, and we have no other person, but indeed a public affairs analyst, and I'm talking of Prince Congent Owhe. Good morning and welcome to Dialogue on Atlantic TV, sir.
Good morning, Deltans. Good morning, Nigeria. I'm happy to be here with you.
Well, anyway, I just want us to go straight to it, because in a letter dated 27th of September 2025, and which we at Dialogue here on Atlantic TV was able to get a hold of, and which was signed by SERAP Deputy Director, I'm talking of no other person, but Mr. Kolawole Oluwadare. The organization said, I'll just rather look at the letter right here, that the selection and appointment process for Mr. Yakubu's replacement cannot and should not be a closed shop. So the letter read. Now, the letter also went on to say, transparency in the process will also ensure that competent and impartial people are appointed and reduce the risk of conflict of interest. Now, this is even where the letter gets interesting. Now, he said it will allow Nigerians to scrutinize, monitor, and engage with the process. Now, let's look at this very request from SERAP critically. Do you feel this request is in order?
Well, from what the letter is saying, from what they've talked about, basically, yes. It's okay. It's enhanced transparency.
Okay.
To make the process so that everybody will be aware of what is going on.
Okay.
I'm sure every Nigerian, all of us would prefer that, would like that. Mr. President has nominated X, Y, Z persons, or he has so and so number of persons in mind that he wants to nominate as INEC President and Chairman. But legally, constitutionally, it doesn't.
It doesn't. The request doesn't stand the ground.
Because Section 135 of the Constitution empowers the President to nominate whoever, not whoever the President feels. Okay. He will nominate and send his nominee to the Senate. The Senate, for confirmation. The Senate will go ahead and confirm that nominee. Now, what role does we, the people, the masses, have to play?
Yeah.
During the process of the nomination, because the nomination is not done hush-hush or in secret. Yeah. They will screen, there's a committee of electoral matters in the Senate. They will screen the candidates. and if he's fit and proper, that candidate will now be presented to preliminary by the full house, all the senators. And they will go ahead to say, this person has passed the screening, please confirm as requested by the president. So basically, it is during that process that you cannot engage the Senate.
Would there be a public hearing? Would there be a public participation in that screening process? Because this is where SERAP seems to also be concerned. They want us to know who this person is on time before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu goes ahead to send that very name to the Senate. They want it to be in public space. They want us to scrutinize whoever that person is, go through his background, see where, if he has any fault, any loopholes that would indeed affect the electoral process. So let's look at the confirmation. Yes, I do understand Section 135 of the Constitution. Even if you look at Section 154 and 158, all it gives the president that power to do so. But my question, would the public be participating in that if it goes alone? Constitutionally, we know if it goes alone to the Senate. That's the question.
You know how the Senate operates. Like I said, the screening itself is not open. It's by the committee.
Okay. So it's not going to be an open process.
Yes, but it depends on the committee.
Okay.
Because normally they will say, okay, we have a hearing, a public hearing for so and so event, for so and so action, or for so and so activity. We want to for so and so issue. The National Assembly, either the Senate or the House of Reps, they have that power. They are empowered by the Constitution to say we are doing so and so. We are screening the INEC Chairman, so we want the public to be involved. So they hold a public hearing.
Okay.
But from experience,
since
1999. You know, we had Ebeg Bobadia, whom Obasanjo appointed. He also appointed Morisi Wu. And there was nothing like that. There was no public hearing. I think the next person was the one appointed by President Jonathan Atahiru Jega. There was also no public hearing. And even the President Mahmoud Yakubu, whose tenure has now, I think, is expiring just by November here, there is also no public hearing. Now, the essence of what SERAP is saying is that they want people to be more engaged. We don't want to wake up in the one morning and we'll now hear in the news that the president has appointed so and so person, has sent the name to the Senate, and the next thing we hear, the Senate will say, oh, our electoral committee have screened this person, the person is fit and proper. We see that he's okay. They will bring the person before the whole house of the Senate, and they say, oh, we've confirmed. You are now the INEC Chairman. But what SERAP is trying to do is to get people involved. We should be aware of the process. Normally, if you ask me, I would say that's okay. But I don't think, honestly, I don't think
their request will be granted.
Yes, I don't think so. Because constitutionally, it is not done that way. But however, the president may decide to do it, and also the Senate itself can do it. That's where it's at the point of the Senate. Because if you do that now, but I also know that if there's any nominee before the Senate, there are always petitions. Some group of persons, some individuals, they might write a petition against somebody and said, so and so person is not fit and proper because of so and so and so. They may decide to act on the petition. They may decide to tell the public and say there's a petition. They may decide to keep quiet or not even act on the petition. So that's how it is. It's up to them. It's their own it's the prerogative of the president.
Okay, well, anyways, just like what you said, everything lies on the president.
Yes.
And we do know Section 154, 158, like I said. And funny enough, even Section 14, Part F of the third schedule gives President Bola Ahmed Tinubu every power to nominate whoever he feels
like.
But there's this growing call that they feel that is in every way going to give Mr. President and his party undue advantage in the electoral process in itself. So I want your reaction to this growing call that feels this section or this part of the section of the Constitution 99 as amended, it seems not to be favorable to a larger percentage of Nigerians, especially the opposition. So do you feel that section, because this growing call to say, okay, let's jettison that part of the Constitution, maybe when we are now doing a formal review of the Constitution, I want your reaction. Do you feel this gives an undue advantage to Mr. President and his party in the electoral process?
It does.
It does.
Yes, it does. Whoever is president,
Okay.
you have this advantage to pick whoever you like, and your party. It's yes, it does. In 2007, I think, when President Yaradua came to power.
Yes.
The election that brought him to power, there was a lot of cries, a lot of views and all that, saying, this election was not free and fair, something should be done. And President Yaradua set up a committee to review the process, this INEC, how they were saying, how can the president have so much power to appoint INEC chairman? Apart from INEC chairman, there are also national commissioners who are members of INEC. Then apart from that, there are also resident electoral commissioners who are in charge of the electoral process in each state and the FCT. And the president appoints all of them. So people are saying, the president has too much powers with regards to these appointments. There were so many suggestions. So we are even saying, get the Chief Justice of the Federation to be a part of it. To be a part of it. Some people say, get the civil societies to be part of it, get people to be part. I think that discussion was ongoing when eventually Yaradua got sick and Yaradua died. So nothing happened. Because all of that, Yaradua was putting that together to now send to the National Assembly for it to become part
of the Constitution,
of the constitutional amendment that he was proposing. But when Yaradua died, nothing came out. It just ended there. So it gives the president, it gives his party an unfair advantage.
Okay.
But honestly, there's nothing anybody can do about it. There's nothing anybody can do about it because it's in the Constitution and you have to follow it.
Okay, now I do understand that there's really nothing we can do about it, knowing that it's part of our Constitution. And in case you feel this way, there was an enlarged meeting last week, which we on Dialogue monitored. And this meeting, we had Yage Africa as part of this meeting.
Yes.
The Kuka Center was part of this meeting. PLAC was part of the meeting. International Press Center and 12 others. They had a discussion and unveiled a document that, wow, it's really interesting when I really looked at this very document. And it was titled Citizens Memorandum for Reform of the Electoral Framework. And they listed about 37 recommendations. And in all of these recommendation on the electoral process, and funny enough, one that really got my attention was in who should indeed be allowed to elect appointees of INEC. Now, what they also say is that the Constitution should be amended to remove the power to appoint the chairman, national commissioner, resident electoral commissioner from the president, and rather introduce a multi-stakeholders approach to it. Now, in that approach, what they are recommending is they are saying that they should think of bringing Council of State, like traditional rulers and religious institutions, including civil society. Now, my own question is, yes, we all agree that Mr. President seems to have the undue advantage and his party. Now, do you see a difference with these very recommendations coming from these bodies, that we should have civil society organizations as a part of it, we should have critical stakeholders like religious leaders and traditional rulers, and we should also in every way have other major bodies that will make this decision? What's your view on this? Would this help reduce that undue advantage if our Constitution is amended to think towards this recommendation coming from these bodies?
Definitely, it will. But the big question is, how do you do you think the constitution is going to be amended to remove
that undue power?
Yes, that undue advantage. I don't think so, because the amendment process starts from the National Assembly, the House of Rep, and the Senate. Then, if they agree on any item, on even if it's one word, if it's one sentence on the Constitution, then they now said, we've agreed two-third majority. We have agreed on amending sections, so and so. Then, after that, they will now pass it to the states.
Okay.
To the states, and two-thirds of the states, and two-thirds of that is 24 states. We have 36 states. We also agree and said, okay, we agree with you, and it's amended and becomes a part of the
Constitution.
of the Constitution. Well, what I keep looking at, what I keep saying is that most times we have politicians in the National Assembly. We are politicians. This thing we are talking about. The thing that interests politicians the most is the electoral process. So, what these NGOs, these civil society bodies are proposing, who is going to take action for them? Who is going to put it together and pass it? It is politicians. And I can tell you that, look, the politicians will not like what they are proposing. They are in charge. They are in charge of the process at the National Assembly, even in the state assemblies. So I don't think this will
never see the light of day.
It will never, except a president who really wants this, and his own party. They will now mount pressure and say, you look, you are our party members, this is what we want. The president himself is also a politician.
And you're now removing power from him.
From him. He won't do it. That's what I feel strongly. He won't do it. But honestly, to make it fair to everyone, both those in power and those in opposition, everybody, it's what they are proposing. It's what should be done. Like I mentioned earlier, President Yaradua, late President Yaradua, was doing something like this. Yeah. But also, I need to mention something quickly.
Yeah.
The president consults the Council of State.
Okay.
It's part of what is in the Constitution.
Yes.
There are certain statutory bodies, like the National Population Commission, INEC, National Judicial Council, NJC, a lot of Code of Conduct Bureau is one of them. The president, if they want to appoint the board, members of the board, commission, or whatever name it goes by, the president will consult the Council of State. So what they are saying, they are also proposing that the Council of State should be part. The Council of State is already part of it already. Although he may not. I think there was a president that didn't consult. I'm trying to remember. He just brought the name and he announced it. He can do that because the president of Nigeria is so powerful. He has so much powers. Sometimes they look at the Constitution and bypass. If they are not comfortable, probably he's looking at it as if I take this thing to the Council of State. Even the Council of State, their role is advisory. Yeah. There's no, the president takes a name there and they tell him that, look, this person is not fit and proper, don't appoint him. It's advisory. It's up, at the end of the day.
At the end, it goes on to him to take the decision.
It goes on to do whatever he likes. So it's just like that. Nigerian president is so powerful, everything, he does what he wants to do according to the Constitution. Some people, they are saying it is the president does, right? People wonder, can he do that? Yes, he can. Go and look at our Constitution. He's one of the most powerful ruler on earth. The Constitution has given him so much power. And when it comes to this, because this body, Independent National Electoral Commission, is the body that is responsible, for conducting elections for our office officers, for the leaders. Our leadership recruitment process, they are in charge. So if, like sometimes, I think about a year ago, the president appointed certain members of some resident electoral commissioners. And people rise up and say, these are members of APC.
Your party. Yeah.
They brought evidence. They took it to the Senate. They wrote petitions, but the Senate threw it away. There's also somewhere in the Constitution that says, no, you don't appoint a member of any party to be a member of the electoral board. Yeah. But what do you do?
Anyway, what I feel we need to do now is quickly go on a break. And then when we come back, we'll continue our discussion as it concerns the nomination of a new INEC chairman, especially knowing that the tenure of the existing chairman, we're talking about Professor Mahmood Yakubu, will definitely expire come November of this year. What should President Bola Ahmed Tinubu do? What character should that person possess? What area or what angle should he come from? Should he be a technocrat? Should he be still from the academics? Or should he always be a religious person? Whatever angle should that person definitely come from? Well, all of these will continue in our next discussion. Let's go on a break and we'll come back and have some more.
When the lights go out, who do you call? Ticado! Ticado Energy Solutions Limited, your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Ticado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Ticado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at ticado.com.ng. Ticado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace.
Every year, millions of lives are stolen, dreams cut short, futures traded in silence. Human trafficking is a modern-day slavery. It hides in plain sight, tearing families apart and trapping the vulnerable in fear. But together we can end it. Together we can protect, we can rescue, and we can give hope. Say no to exploitation. Say no to slavery. Say no to human trafficking. Powered by Atlantic Media and TV.
Well, we need to welcome you back, and we'll still will dialogue on Atlantic TV, Viewpoint it is. And today we're talking about the nomination of a new substantive chairman for the Independent National Electoral Commission that's expected to expire come November this year. You do know that the present chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, has been on the helms of affairs for the last 10 years. And in every indication, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu must, by constitution, change him. He cannot be reappointed. So all of that is indeed raising a whole lot of stories and dust, not just on social media, but on mainstream media. You can see on the dailies today, many are already coming out to say, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you need to do this and this to ensure that credibility returns to the electoral process. But the question is, who would that person be? But anyway, he's right here with us, not the soon to be named INEC Chairman, but rather our guest and our public analyst. I'm talking of no other person but Prince Congent Owhe. Now, it will not be fair if we continue our discussion and we do not look at the tenure of the soon to be removed INEC Chairman. I feel it will not be fair on the part of our discussion today. So let's look at Mahmood Yakubu and his reign as the INEC Chairman. Yes, he was first appointed in 2015, November to be precise, and was only reappointed by late President Muhammadu Buhari in 2020 to do. But for me, how would you assess the tenure of Professor Mahmood Yakubu? 10 years.
First, he made history. Mahmood Yakubu is the only INEC or electoral chairman that has done 2 terms.
Oh, yeah.
He made history. Nobody in Nigeria has done that.
Yes, from Gobadia to
No, even from
Maurice Uwu.
you know Ephraim.
Yes,
Ephraim Akpata.
Akpata
Was the one who conducted. He was appointed by Abdul Salam
Abubakar.
Yes, Abdul Salam Abubakar. He died. Ephraim died. Then Obasanjo now appointed Bobadia.
Yeah.
Bobadia did 1 term. He left. Obasanjo appointed Maurice Uwu.
Yes.
Maurice Uwu did 1 term. He left. Then Jonathan came. Jonathan removed him and appointed Atahiru Jega. Jega said, "Oh, I'm okay. I don't want to do a 2nd term because Buhari actually wanted Jega to continue, but he said, no, I'm not interested. I want to leave." Then before Mahmoud now came in. So Mahmoud made history. He's the only electoral chairman that has done 2 terms. And the term is expiring in November. 5 years, 10 years altogether. The innovation started with Atahiru Jega.
Okay.
Elections in Nigeria before Jega came was such that when in a polling unit, if 200 people are registered to vote, and when the result come, the result will be 300 for a particular party. Okay. That was before Jega came. But because it was like that, because there was no way you can articulate or know whether so and so number of persons are either registered or so and so number of persons are not registered. So what the politicians does is they will just get to the polling unit and write whatever number they like. So by the time they go and cross-check, you will see that the number of persons voting are more than those registered to vote. So Jega came in and said, this has to stop. So he now introduced what they call the card reader and came up with an electronic register where people, whoever is being registered, you are captured, your fingerprint is captured, your face is captured.
Because of unnecessary thumb printing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they know that whoever you are, as I am now, Congent Owhe, I'm registered to vote in XYZ unit. I am Congent Owhe. If I go to XYZ unit, they will bring then the card reader. They use the card reader to register everybody. They will bring it. I'll put my thumbprint on that card reader. Then my picture will pop out. It's me. Then I'll vote. Nobody can go and impersonate somebody else to vote. So that was the innovation that Jega brought. Now, what happened was he used it for 2011 elections. Nobody talked about it. Then when it came to 2015 election, what happened was, President Jonathan lost that election and he said, no, I'm not going to contest these elections in court. But there were a lot of controversies everywhere in the court that even got up to the Supreme Court. Clear cases were cases in Rivers State and Akwa Ibom. The number of persons that voted, that were registered, were far more than the persons. That is the result that was announced.
So the card reader in every way did not perform.
Did not perform. Yeah. Now, when the parties, the aggrieved party got to court, they won at the High Court, they won at the Appeal Court. When they got to the Supreme Court told them something. I said, this thing is not known to law.
Which was, as of that time,
yes,
not known to
yes.
law. It was just an innovation coming from the Independent Electoral Commission.
So the Supreme Court told them that, look, this thing is not known to law. So that was how in states like Rivers, they threw the case out. They said, beautiful innovation, fine, but however, it's not known to law. So when Mahmoud came, one of the things Mahmoud did was to make sure that he proposed. He did a lot of proposal and worked hard to make sure that that innovation is known to law. That was how the 2022 Electoral Act came to be. And it is part, even he came up with what we now call the beavers. Beavers. He improved on the card reader. Improved on the card reader, and we have the beavers. So the beavers is known to law. Now, Mahmoud went further. You know, the electoral process, when they say how they rig elections, you know, when people come to a particular polling unit, people gather. They say 10 people are there, 10 people voted. And by the time the result will come out, you'll be shocked that they will now say 100 people voted. Yeah. So Mahmoud said, yes, beautiful, that the collation process, is done in such a way that between the polling unit and the center where that collation takes place, a lot of things goes on and the figures change. So Mahmoud said he came up with what they call IREV, where the person in charge, that's the presiding officer who is in charge of that particular unit. After the votes, everybody has voted. You've accredited people. Because right now, you can't, except you are registered to vote, you can't vote. That was what, before Mahmoud and Jega, whether you are registered to vote or not, people were voting. They were impersonating to vote. So we now have a clean register where everybody who is registered, they will vote. Now after voting, they get the result, then they snap it. And with that same BVAS, they snap it, enter the INEC website, then they upload the result to the site. So you and me can open that site, and as the election is going on, we can say, at so and so polling unit, this is the result. At so and so polling unit, this is the result. In so and so local government, this is the result. That's the raw result. The basic result, because for any election, the basic result is from the polling unit. From the polling unit to the ward, then to the local government, to the states, then the whole country. Now, if you open that site, the INEC site, you will see clearly all these results are there. So to an extent, a lot of people were excited. That was why you saw that in the 2023 electoral cycle, a lot of people came out. Because INEC,
especially young Nigerians.
Young Nigerians, because Mahmoud was always having one press conference or the other. He tested it with several elections, off-cycle election, Osun election, Ekiti election, I think maybe Kogi elections and some other elections. So people saw it worked. They looked at IREV, they looked at the site, and they can guess and say, so and so person has won the election. We all clapped for him. We were all excited, we were all happy, and said, maybe this will work for. He assured all of us that the general election 2023 is going to be free, it's going to be fair. Then 2023 came. Until today, nobody can really explain what happened. Because on the day of the election, the IRA did not work.
Okay, well, anyway, I love the way you brought down, you kind of explained to us all his major innovation and his gains. But my next question, I don't want to sound as a broken record. You've already said his successes, but many will talk about or look at some of his talking points. And some of the major talking points during his tenure will be, number one, the issue of the IREV, which you just mentioned. And another major talking point is inconclusive elections.
Yes.
We had a lot of inconclusive elections during his time. And another third major one is we had huge budgetary allocations to INEC during his time. So for you, which will be more of a talking point? Is it the IREV, the failure of the IREV during the last general election? Is it the huge money that was budgeted for INEC that many said was never really accounted for? Or would you say is the issue of inconclusive elections that almost grounded our electoral process? For you, which will be the more talking point that this very chairman will be remembered for in a negative light?
If you look at it, the major one is the IREF, the failure of IREC for the presidential elections in 2023. For everybody, that's the major talking point about Yakubu Mahmoud.
So we'll remember him with that.
History, we always remember him about, no matter what he has done, no matter the good, no matter the beautiful things he has done, the innovations he brought, he tried to make sure that the electoral process is streamlined, everybody work together. 2023 elections, that IREF failing on that day is the major talking point for Mahmoud. they will remember history. We always remember Mahmoud for that. Of course, you talked about inconclusive election. That was also one of his one major thing that always happened. I remember Osun State. It was really almost a crisis. The election, the present governor, now Adeleke at that time, was winning. At the point they said the election is not inconclusive. And they shifted the election to another. By the time they came back, Oyetola, I think that's his name. I hope
former governor.
Former governor is now the minister of for the blue economy. Won that election, and a lot of people, they were angry. They said it was because the election was paused. What is inconclusive elections and all of that. So Mahmoud, there were a lot of inconclusive elections during this time. And somehow he was able to somehow they deal with it, and he survived it. But the major talking point, what people will remember Mahmoud for, because it's what affects all of us. It's what we see. People, honestly, people don't even know how much is budgeted for INEC. Whether the money is showing or not, people don't care. But when it comes to what gains
are accruable,
the elections, how is it? How do we perceive it? Was it free and fair? That's what they will remember Mahmoud for. Now in 2023, because of that IREV that failed, some people will say, something happened. You know, people will say, up till tomorrow. People are saying something happened. Some people insinuate that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not win the election. Something happened. If something did not happen, why did IREV fail? Now, if you come to think of it, that same IREV, on that day, the Senate elections were held. On that day, the House of Reps elections were held. Those results were uploaded. So people ask, so why did the president not work on that day? So that is what basically Mahmoud will be remembered for.
Well, anyway, in case you do remember the episode, it was indeed one that almost brought us to constitutional issues, undermining the Supreme Court finally gave a verdict and still had President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a major winner of that very general elections. But anyway, in case you're just joining us now, you've missed a great deal. We're looking at the nomination of the new INEC Chairman that's expected to definitely come into being in the next 2 months. And there are many Nigerians already talking about it and indeed ensuring or asking, just like Sarah, that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should not close shop on it, should rather be open, so Nigerians will also be a part of the process in understanding who will definitely lead the electoral process come 2027. Now, talking about who, I want us to now go there because we've seen some names are already being speculated as perceived people that will take the helms of affair in the electoral umpire. Names like Moses Oga, who was a former rec, Kenneth Ukegbu, who also was a major former rec, and we have Sam Olumokun, who also is a major part of it. But another name that seems to also be there, and that is funny enough in the papers as we speak. But in all of that, we don't want to be speculative with the names we are calling. But our next question is, what background should this person have? Should he come from the academic or the academia as Professor Mahmoud Yakubu? Should he be a technocrat? Should he be from the civil society? In your own view, what background should this person have? That will make it a bit credible.
Credibility, it's something you cannot say, look at the person and say, this person is credible. Like when Tahiru Jega was appointed by Jonathan, everybody rejoiced because they looked at his antecedent, they looked at his background.
BUK.
Yes, as a vice chancellor of BUK. And also, I think the basic thing was, Jega was ASU president then. I think in the 80s.
And performed credibly.
Yes. So they looked at his background and said, this is a good appointment. Even Mahmoud also, people said, Mahmoud is a good guy. He has the experience. It's also a good appointment. But what I've seen with electoral, those occupying the electoral office is, it's not easy because the politicians, they will man pressure on you and do what you really don't want to do. They have their own way. So it doesn't matter whether it's going to be a technocrat, an academician, or a businessman, whoever it is. It's the ability to be able to resist this pressure, because the pressure will come. Nigerian politicians, they believe that they can get what they want to get. That's the average mindset
of any Nigerian
politician. So they will mount that pressure on you. The pressure will come, and you can't resist it. You can't resist it, because if you resist, like I've said here, that look, INEC chairmanship, members of the board, they can't really be sacked, but they can sack you. The president may decide that, look, this person is not playing ball. He brings something up. Look at one of the laws, maybe a dated law, whatever it is. And even, you know, the normal process of removal, I think 137, section 137, where the president writes a letter to the Senate and 2/3 approves it. You can write a letter to the Senate and you'll be surprised that when they get to the floor of the Senate, they do something and they'll tell you 2/3 has approved it.
And it goes.
And it goes. So whoever is appointed is aware of this pressure, is also aware of the powers that these politicians in office, they wield. And that's why you see that most times you can't really resist these pressures. It has to do with the way our political system is. When you are in office, you have so much powers at your disposal to do whatever you like, empowered by the Constitution. But apart from the Constitution itself, by the attitude where absolute power with our politicians, our office holder, with absolute powers to get whatever they want. So it doesn't really matter who, because I'm sure
that it doesn't really matter the background of the person.
Yes, it doesn't matter.
But whether the integrity and the resilience of the person.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. They will break you. They will. They will break you whether you like it or not. So you see, I'm sure there are individuals, if you call them, come and be INEC Chairman, they'll say, no, I'm not interested, because they know that at the end of the day, they may go and do what they don't like to do.
Okay, now, talking about what they don't like to do, we are now a bit scared. And you try to understand my fears and the fears of Nigerians.
Yes.
Now, according to our findings, following the chairman's exit come November 2025, 5 other national commissioners will end their tenure in 2026.
Okay.
With another 5 existing commissioners on the eve of the 2027 elections.
Okay.
All of them will go. Making this coming 2027 elections will be managed by relatively new leadership. That's totally new persons will be saddled with the responsibility in conducting this new election. And it's already raising a whole lot of dust on Nigerians. They are now talking about, just like you said, will these persons have the thick skin to accommodate the pressure coming from politicians? That's number one. Will these persons even have the knowledge of actually conducting elections in Nigeria? Because all of them will be relatively new. Will these persons have the credibility? Also, because we've not tested them before. So my question is, should we be scared about all of this, that we're having relatively unexperienced persons now saddled with the responsibility of conducting the 2027 elections?
We should not be scared, because INEC itself is a bureaucracy. They are civil servants.
Okay.
It's an agency of government.
Okay.
People are employed to work there. Some people have worked there for 30 years, more than 30 years, depending on how. So the system runs. It's like any other agency, because these are political appointees at the helm of affair. These are the leaders. These are political people who are appointed politically to lead the agency. Okay. So the real work itself is being done
from the ad hoc staff, from the staffs.
Yeah, by the staffs of that agency. So there's nothing to be scared of. But basically, you need the experience. You need the experience of these leaders. But however, there's nothing you can do about it. Their tenure has expired. It has expired. There's nothing we can do about that. But we should not be too worried because the system itself functions. And if the system itself is functioning, is running, because the true work is being done by the civil servants who are workers, who are staffs of this agency. These are just the leader who gives them direction and all that. There are still some experienced commissioners in the board, in the commission. So things will be okay, but you also need experience. Yeah. Me, although sharp, as if you ask me my own personal opinion, maybe more than 2 years, it will be better, because if you look at one of the challenges we usually have with our election is logistics. Yeah. Logistics. Yeah. The logistics, they fail. Yeah.
On that very day.
On that very day. It has happened several times. I think in 2011 elections, it was the election that started, logistics failed, and the election was
halted.
Even this 2023 election, logistics failed in so many places. So that logistics problem, we've not been able to sort it out well. We'll not be able to sort it. It means that the reason it happens like that is because of what we use ad hoc staffs.
Mostly.
We use ad hoc staffs to run our electoral system. You know, that's why a lot of persons are saying, let's make the whole of the system to be electronic. The whole of the system to be electronic. We have staffs who run this thing. It is their responsibility. It is their job. But what we do is that ad hoc staffs that we also use is also the basis with which politicians manipulate
and hijack the process.
Yes, hijack the process.
Now, still looking at the chairman, there's this new push coming from women organizations. Now, that a woman
should be
appointed first time as chairman of the Independent Natural Electoral Commission, that we've had successive men, himself affair, and our elections are still struggling. And even if you look at Article 13, subsection 1 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, and Article 25 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, to which Nigeria is a signed guarantor to this very, it gives the right of anybody to either be appointed or serve on the right of his or her government. His or her government. So my question now, is it now time for us to have a woman, knowing how, as they say, they are more caring, they are more respective, they are more in tuned with the happenings on ground? Is it time for us to have a woman? I know my co-anchor, Messer Rabo, will be happy about it, but do you feel it's time for women now to be heading the electoral empire? Would it make any difference?
I love women.
Would they withstand the pressure from men? Because they've always been withstanding the pressure. Would it be a nice thing to see at this time?
I love women being in offices, being in powerful offices. They have their own way. They have this history of performance. With regards to women, somehow they seem to get it right. But present day Nigeria, if you see the women in offices, one example is Senator Natasha in the Senate. All of us, we are aware of what is going on with her. So if you see women in the whole of this country, what women have is the best. The best. How many senators we have? I think we have about 2-3 senators as women. Then House of Reps, we have few of them. There's no woman governor. The few ones we have are deputy governors. So I doubt
it's going to be a tall order. But we've had women perform excellently well.
Yes.
We've had the best finance minister ever in Nigeria that was even retained a second time is still a woman. And she's heading the World Trade Organization as it stands.
Yes. The best government that gave a lot of chances to women, Jonathan government. Jonathan embraced a lot of women. I think Obasanjo too. Obasanjo government, he tried. Then Buhari to an extent too. But this government, this present one, I look around, look at the sensitive positions, look at the sensitive office, I don't see women. So this government, I have my doubt strongly that they will appoint a woman as an INEC chairman. Honestly, if you ask me, I don't think so.
Well, anyway, what
But
I do...
it would be nice
Okay.
to have a woman.
Okay. Well, anyways, what I do think now, or rather what I would say now, is that we are totally out of time on this lovely discussion. And we're talking about the nomination of a new INEC chairman that is also, it seems to be on the round. And everybody is now telling President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we're waiting for you. Who would that person be? Well, maybe it's going to be a woman if wishes for horses. But anyway, it's not my business. But anyway, that's what seems to be on the ground now. And a whole lot of Nigerians are indeed asking the question, who would be the next? Especially knowing that Mahmoud Yakubu will definitely leave office come November this year. But anyway, I would not go without really thanking you so much. And I'm talking of no other person, but Prince Congent Owhe. He's a public affairs analyst and indeed a part of the electoral process as it concerns going round to indeed monitor them. I would really say we're truly appreciative of your time with us. And you do know when it comes to the elections and other issues that concerns this great nation, we always love to call on you for you to add your own views as it concerns them. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Anytime you call on me, I'll be here. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. On that very appreciative note, we've come to the end of our dialogue on Atlantic TV for today. But we'll tell you this, the discussion still continues. Let's get your reaction. What do you feel President Bola Ahmed Tinubu needs to do? Where should he go? Should he go back to our schools to get them, or should he take a technocrat? Whatever your views are, please remember to drop them on our different social media platforms. Remember to share, like, and also comment. And I will be more than happy to your reactions are already, they are there on our screen, so you definitely get them and be a part of the discourse. And also do remember tomorrow's special edition of our dialogue and viewpoint itself on Atlantic TV as we really look at Independence Day and all that will definitely come. But for me, Michael Gobadia, God willing, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.